What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is, I was going to say it's Eagle Eye. It's not. It's a preview. That's right. The season starts up again like an engine. And we go off to Fulham to play at Craven Cottage against the newly promoted side. Before we get going, you guys know already what I'm going to say. Please do stick a like on this video. This will be one of two videos I do today. I am going video crazy today because I've got the combat show in about an hour, and then I will be back later to do an Eagle Eye special. So keep a lookout for that. Hopefully that should make up for the show I missed during the week. So make sure you keep an eye on those. The only reason I'm doing a show on Eagle Eye is that I want to talk about the various different stories I put on my community posts. I want to talk about Edouard. I want to talk about Daka. And I want to talk about Aubameyang and a couple of other things that I just want to talk about story-wise. In the meantime, though, guys, do me a big favor. Please do slap a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It always helps the show gets noticed, especially with previews. I've noticed recently previews are real slow on the channel. And that's probably a message from me. I need to do something to spice it up. So I'll have a think about that. But in the meantime, please do slap a like on the video and hit that subscribe button in the meantime, so it helps people get noticed. And also share the video around to anyone that you think might notice and might be interested. We are tantalizingly close. We are 1,104 subscribers away from 10K. We're so close. So please do slap a like on the video, share this video around, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, let's get to it. Arsenal play Fulham in the season opener. And this is a team that typically we have a decent record against. You know, Arsenal don't normally have decent records against anyone, quite frankly. But Arsenal do have a decent record against Fulham. The last time we played them, Emre, it was one of the few games where Emre actually got his team exactly right and got them all firing at the same time. And we ended up slapping them 5-1. I actually remember that game because that game, it was a relatively close game in the first half. I think they actually went in at 1-1. And then Emre, who was always very good at his halftime changes or tweaks or talks, because come the second half, they'll come out like a demon and slap up the team that's in front of them. Emre was always a bit of a specialist in that regard. I think this game will be little bit different. Fulham have made a number of little signings that they've made. You know, they're quite a possession-based team, particularly since Scotty Parker took charge of them. I think it was the back end of the season before last when they were getting relegated. You started getting better performances out of them. And actually, over the course of the championship, they've become quite a possession-based team. They like having the ball. They like trying to dominate the ball. But they did have a lot of defensive lapses. So what they've clearly tried to focus on is that they've made a lot of defensive signings. I think they've got a new left back, right back, centre back, defensive midfielder. So they're clearly focused. Funny enough, they're doing what we should be doing. They're doing what we should be doing. But I think the thing about doing that is that obviously when you introduce particularly so many defensive signings to a side, it is going to take you time for those signings to settle down. So I'm expecting that to be very much the case, in this game. Just looking for head-to-heads. Obviously, some of their key players to watch are Kearney and Mitrovic. I think Mitrovic scored like something dumb, like 26 goals in the championship last season. And he's always been a striker who's been a handful. You know, he's never been. To be fair, he does get a few Premier League goals. I remember that actually the time when they got relegated, Mitrovic started that season on fire. And then I don't know what happened. It just kind of petered off just before Christmas. And then I think, I can't remember who the manager was at the time. I think he got fired. And Scotty Parker picked up the reins and they started to pick up his game. So he's clearly a guy that likes attacking football. But because he's not particularly pacey, he likes that physical sort of challenge. So I'm trying to keep that in mind when I'm picking this side. But with all due respect to Fulham, it is Fulham. And I get that it's an away game, but this is Fulham. So this is not a side that I would hope that we would show too much respect to. But you just never know with Arsenal, man. It really depends on the sort of attitude that they have and they come correct with. So just to give you an idea of our last two games against Fulham, in 2019, 1st of January 2019, we slapped them 4-1 at home. The Emre game, I remember that was pretty early into Emre's reign. We went in at halftime 1-1 and then slapped them 5-1. Then before that, it was 2014. We beat them 2-0 at the Emirates. We beat them 3-1 away. Prior to that, it was 2013. We beat them 1-0 away from home. They actually drew 3-3 at the Emirates in 2012 of that same season. In fact, you have to go all the way to their last victory. That wasn't, to be fair, I'm saying all the way. It wasn't that far away. It's 8 years ago in January 2012 where they beat us 2-1 at Craven Cottage. And then prior to that, they had always been a little bit of a bogey team for us. So I think the previous two games were 2 draws, and then we went back to Arsenal winning. So generally speaking, Arsenal have a very good recent history against them. I would fully expect them to add to that history tomorrow. I know many people are very disappointed by our lack of announcements, don't get me started, and signings, don't get me started. But this is Arsenal. Nothing is ever easy. Urgency is not one of their traits. So I think we all deep down knew that this would run until the 5th of October. But I think now that many of us have kind of accepted that, it's almost a relief to just get the season back on and just have another type of focus. From Arsenal's perspective, we can't really worry at the moment too much about signings. And I know that's ironic considering I'm going to do a transfer show later on tonight. But to be honest, our main focus has to be this game. It can't be about, are we going to get enough funds for Thomas Partey, or are we going to do this, or are we going to do that? That said, obviously Martinez has not travelled to Craven Cottage, suggesting that, much like I predicted, by the way, yesterday, I'll tell you, my Mr. Chig was on point in yesterday's show, because a lot of stuff that has happened that I spoke about that show seems to be transpiring right now. I did say that it wouldn't surprise me if Martinez is not only not in the squad, but actually makes his way to Aston Villa to watch his team, his potential new team. It's horrible. I know that doesn't sit right with a lot of us, but I do think that is probably what's going to happen, because he's not made the trip to Craven Cottage. So it will be Matt Macy on the bench for Leno. And I expect probably Martinez will be watching Aston Villa, probably wherever they're playing. I don't know I feel like it's an away game they're playing, but it is what it is. Anyway, without further delay, let me show you guys what my hopeful 1 to 11 is. And just bear with me, and I'll just bring that up. Now, as always, I'll go through my team and show you why I've selected who I've selected. Now, I've changed to a back 4. I think unsurprising though. I don't think any of you guys, hold on, might not be able to see that well, so let me increase it. Unsurprisingly, I've changed this to a back 4. I don't feel like there's any real need necessarily to go to a back 5. Arsenal are the only team in the world that can have legitimately 8 defenders on the books, and 3 of them are fit. It's just crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. But here is my rationale for why I've gone with what I've gone with. So I've gone with Kieran Tierney at the back. I think we need to almost start playing Tierney in his rightful position. We've not seen him enough as a left back. We know that he can play left centre back. All right, great. But we're not seeing him enough in that left back position. And I truly believe that Arteta's grand plan is to play 4 at the back. And if that's the case, we need to get used to Kieran Tierney playing in that position. So for me, I would go Tierney left back. I'm going to go with Rob Holding. I don't think Rob Holding has particularly had a good 3-4 months as an Arsenal player. He was imminently going to leave. But there's supposedly the attitude that he's shown around the training ground, the attitude that he's had in general has been very on point, to the point where it's impressed Mikel Arteta. No matter how bad Holding is, I'll always prefer him to Luiz. I don't care if Luiz has got a neck injury. Don't get me wrong, I hope he recovers. I don't wish anything bad on anyone in terms of injuries. But in terms of, even if Luiz was available, in a back four, my man ain't getting nowhere near this team. I'd rather Mustafi, I'd rather anyone else in a back four than Luiz. But with Holding, I think he'll be fine. He'll be a nice experienced head for the man next to him, and that's Saliba. Now, you're probably wondering, well, where's Gabriel? I don't think you played Gabriel and Saliba this early. I did tell you guys that. The very start of the season, I did say that I don't really anticipate those two playing from the outset, but they have a decent chance of finishing the season together. I think you need to get, Gabriel up to pace. Remember, he's had a long period of time off. I think people forget that. So has Saliba, but at least Saliba's had a full. My man was training with us, towards the end of last season, beginning of this season. My man's ready. He looked good against MK Dons. I liked the way he tried to really establish his presence in the ball. Looked very nice and tidy and neat. I like him, and I want to see him as soon as possible establish himself in the Premier League. So I think from my perspective, let's throw him in the deep end as soon as possible. And against Fulham, I think this is a nice little tester, because Mitrovic is a handful. I think Holding, the one thing I would say for Holding, loves a physical battle. My man loves a physical battle. Movement tends to be Rob Holding's problem. But in terms of physical battles, I still remember the scraps he had with Costa in the 2017 FA Cup final. So my man loves a physical scrap. So I think he'll be a nice little foil to a Rob Holding, if you like. So I'm going to place those two in the centre of defence. And I've got with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, I know realistically, we'll probably see Bellerin as a right back. But I think that if maybe Hector's had his head swayed a little bit, oh, please God, I'm hoping. But if Hector's had his head swayed a little bit, particularly by the Barcelona interest, supposedly, I'm seeing conflicting stories today that just because PSG have got someone doesn't mean they've ended their interest in Hector Bellerin. Oh, I'm praying. It's the one transfer other than Aouar that I don't see genuinely happening, but I hope for the best. I pray for the best that it does. And if that's the case, then he too, his head might be gone. So put Ainsley Maitland-Niles there. And what a nice, after all the speculation that's with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, what a nice little bit of confidence to say, all right, kid, you got this. Go out there. In your position. Go and establish yourself. So I would put Ainsley Maitland-Niles there. I'm going to put Granit Xhaka there, not because I rate him, but because, quite frankly, we ain't got Partey yet. So it's simply the only reason I go in there. I've seen people put Guendouzi in their teams. No. You don't make it easy for Guendouzi to just slip back into the team. But I'd put him in the squad. I'd put Guendouzi in the squad. For sure. Whether I'd bring him on or anything is another question. But I'd put him in the squad. I'm sitting Xhaka next to Ceballos. I think Ceballos is going to be a useful player for us this season. If by some miracle we did get Aouar, I think he'll be surprised how limited his game time is. But I'm going to put Dani Ceballos in the team. And then up front, just swing by up front. So I've gone with our classic four-man attack, which is Aubameyang on the left-hand side, I'm just going to stop fighting this Aubameyang thing. Every day, for long periods of time last season, I thought, why is this guy not playing up front? Why is this guy not playing up front? I'm sick of arguing it. He produces on the left. I'm just going to stop arguing it. And actually, I get it. The first one that started trying to do this was Emre. To credit Emre here, he was the first one that could see that Aubameyang wasn't. Yes, he would score goals, but he wasn't as involved when he was up front by himself. And I said for a long time, Aubameyang can't lead a line by himself. I said that for a long, long time. I always thought Lacazette was much more capable of leading a line by himself than Aubameyang was. Where Aubameyang what Aubameyang does when he plays on that left is he's able to get involved in the game and the build-up. So I think playing him on that left-hand side, while it's a hindrance to say someone like Saka, I think Saka is so multi-talented. You can play him anywhere in that front line and he'll produce. So I think while you have that player that's prepared to do that and at least temporarily sacrifice himself, I say, you know what, Abs, crack on, do what you're doing. So I say Aubameyang on that left-hand side. I think most people will be making him captains for their fantasy football. I know I will be. On the right-hand side, I deliberated this one. I badly deliberated this one because I don't want Pepe to be sidelined this season. This season is key for Pepe. But I just opted for Willian. Only because I think Willian would have had a slightly longer preseason. I think Pepe came back, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago from holiday. So I'd give Pepe a little bit longer to develop. But for me, Willian is a bit part player in this team. But let's just be real. He'll be useful in the setup while he is here. If I'm Reece, I'm shitting myself, quite frankly. But this is the shape I'm going to go with. So I think Willian on that right-hand side, let's just see how we go. If that doesn't work for whatever reason, we could swap Saka and Willian. And if that don't work for any reason, bring Pepe on. That's the grand plan here. Saka is a number 10. For me, people have asked me this for a while. As a number 10, I could see either Saka or a Pepe playing that number 10 role effectively, particularly if we didn't get Aouar. I could see either of them playing that role. No problem. And I'd like to see Saka more as a number 10. The last time he played there for Arsenal, he did really well. And I think there might be a temptation from Arteta to keep Saka on that right. Obviously he knows Ainsley Maitland-Niles well. So the temptation might be to keep Saka on that right-hand side, play Willian inside. Either way, it'll be good to just see how this new dynamic works. I noticed Willian seems to be getting on really well with the Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Pepe crew. Great. So let's just see how that continues. And then up top, I'm going with Lacazette, not Eddie and Nketiah. I'm going with Lacazette. Now, obviously, you might just say, well, all right, well, Chig, whoa. You just said you keep Bellerin out the side because he's been heavily linked with other teams. You're not doing the same with Lacazette? No, I'm not doing the same with Lacazette. But because I think Lacazette will stay. I do think he'll stay. So I guess that's kind of a spoiler for later on in my transfer stories. I do think Lacazette will stay, even if it is for one more season. And B, I trust Lacazette more than I do Eddie and Nketiah to lead that line. And that's just straight facts. I trust him more. I think Eddie, I have nothing against the kid. He tries super hard, runs about. And that's why, if you notice with me, I don't shit on players that do that. I never shitted on Danny Welbeck when he did that. I never shitted on Jovino when he was here when he did that. I never shitted on Abue. What I want to see is you give some effort as a minimum requirement. And I can almost forgive lack of quality. Just give me some effort. And what all of those players have in common is that they give effort. I just don't see Eddie making the step up required for Arsenal. I've said that for a long, long time. I just don't see it. There's an argument to be had that he just scored a hat trick. Why don't you keep that momentum? I won't necessarily argue with you if that is your discussion point. But I just think with Eddie Nketiah, I look at him sometimes and I just think, I don't see it, kid. I don't. I think you try hard, but I don't see you making that extra step required. You know, and people like correcting me. All right, he's 21 years old. All right, he's 21 years old. Edouard is 22. Why is it that everybody's on Edouard's nuts to join this club and start for Arsenal, but they don't have that same enthusiasm for Eddie to even play a bit part in this game? There's levels to this thing sometimes, you know? So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I crazy? Am I mad? Am I being unfair? Again, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Now, I don't want to go on too long. I just want to make sure that I've caught everybody, and they are, in case any donations that might have been dropped in while I've been banging on and on and on. Once again, please do slap a like on this video. Let me stop sharing so you can see my face. Please do slip a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh. Eddie Welbeck I'll accept, but not that one. That's harsh. All right. I think we'll leave it here. We'll come back a bit later on. Obviously, I've got the combat show in 1 hour. So the link to the description, anyone that keeps asking me MMA questions, we will be live. Live in 1 hour. Link is in the description below. In terms of later on tonight, probably around midnight, because you know them boys like rabbiting. So probably around midnight, I'll be back on here, and then we'll cover all the transfer stories that I put on the community post. So make sure you don't miss that. Am I missing anything else out? Also, make sure, guys, it's the start of the season. So this is the last reminder. I'm going to put it on my Insta, and I'm going to put it on Twitter. Join my fantasy football league. Pay our prizes. We'll be for the first 5 places in that league. So make sure you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do and join that league. All right. Code is in the description. Link is in the description. So make sure you don't miss out on the chance of joining that league. I think that's pretty much it now. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Enjoy the night. I'll speak to you a bit later. And if you're in the combat show chat room, I guess I'll see you in an hour's time. Take care.